Uh, yeah, and that we will be recording it tonight. So if you don't get a chance to see it, it'll be available for a few days afterwards to be here and to review it, or if you have to go do something in between. So we're super glad. And yeah, if you want to even put your names and your location where you're at in the your box there, so we can see where everybody's from. And anytime you want, feel free to add to the chat. We love feedback, conversation, interaction, and so you can get to know each other, whether you're on Facebook or on the Zoom screen. Yeah.
And so we're guessing that you're interested. You're here because you'd like to leave the tension of the day behind, so that when you come together, like in the bedroom, you can keep your bedroom a stress-free zone, and then have lovemaking become a transformational experience.
Yes. So this is what we're talking about tonight. This is the 3 secrets that nobody told you to keep your bedroom a stress-free zone, and that through our years together, we've been together over 30 years, we've are now actually having probably the best lovemaking ever, and at least the most playful, the most expansive,
Most satisfying,
creative, and that out of that is to keep it a place that is open for freedom, a place that's open for laughter and connection, rather than to take all the tension of the day and carry it into the bedroom. So that we want to tell you about the secrets that we've discovered and how it's been helpful for us.
So my name's Thomas. I've done massage therapy for the past 40 years. And at some point I was ready for a change. I was looking for a change, and I wanted to do something different. And it was stressful for us because I wanted to do something that was outside the comfort zone, Sarah's comfort zone. And so I was looking at the class and wanting to do it, and kind of facing this, well, I could cause more stress to Sarah, or I could work with her, and I could, in a sense, prioritize our relationship, which is, sorry, I just leaked one of the secrets we're going to tell you later, but, prioritize our relationship and to work with her, and to be present, and to make it more secure for her to more open up and be ready for changes that I was hoping to introduce at some point. And of course, whenever you do that, you give up, whether you're really attached to it or you need to be somewhat flexible. And so I became somewhat flexible and prioritize our relationship.
Thank you. Thanks for doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. And here we are. It was a struggle there for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and even with Tantra, I kind of dragged you to Tantra, and that was not your thing at first. And now you're the queen of Tantra here.
Yeah, I love it. I'm teaching it, and I'm saying it's for everybody. I wish I had done it early on. And so, yeah, if you're new to this, welcome. I wish we'd done it in our relationship years ago. And if you've been in a relationship forever, then this is all the more reason to add some new ideas and connection, and that you may have already found your own way of coming to the bedroom with less stress, or you wouldn't necessarily be here, but if we can offer some new ones or some new perspective. And my name is Sarah, as he has kindly introduced me to. And one of the things that I had thought of about preparing for this was just even in the preparation, that the other day, Thomas and I were creating a video to introduce this whole workshop, and we decided, let's do it in the bed, and you set up the camera and I'll go grab the notes of what we want to say, and then I come in and I start saying, you do this and you do that, and we got to move it here and we got to do it there, and he's just like, and he's like, we're sitting there like, okay, we're gonna do this video about stress-free, we're really ready, right? Well,
not.
And so, okay, pause, it's not.
I didn't react well to being ordered about and told what to do, and even though I knew it was for our good cause, it triggered my alarms in my head.
Yes. No, you don't like to be ordered around.
Yeah, no.
no, but not in that way.
Yeah, not in that way. If I give you permission, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had to take a step back and get out of the bed and get out and really connect, turn towards each other and bringing in some loving connection. Take a breath and say, okay, this video, I'd love to do it, but you're much more important than this video. Much more important. I can totally skip that.
So we actually had to use some of the tools we teach all the time.
Yeah. And, and I realized for me, what was triggering me was I was in a hurry because I had a class online I wanted to get to. And I said, okay, I can also let go of my tension about time. If this video is going to work, I need to give up something. I need to give up this idea I'm going to be done in 15 minutes. And so, just letting that go, I was able to relax. We were able to get the video done much quicker than if we just cranked it out.
Well, we did 3 takes, right? 3 takes.
Yeah, it went pretty smoothly, and we had fun doing it too, instead of the tension that was there. So can any of you relate to some of those dynamics that
Or
you
getting
feel
triggered by your partner bossing you around or anything like that?
Yeah, some hands up and waving. They can definitely see that. Definitely for me, we've been there more than one time. And so we've learned some ways to get out of that tension. And we'll go through it a little bit slower. So we'll talk for a while, and then we'll also give you a practice that you can use that in your life here, or to get in the state that can be helpful. And just a kind of a disclaimer, when we talk about moving out of tension into the bedroom, that doesn't necessarily mean these skills are going to take care of some major violation, some serious problem, that may take something else than what we're offering tonight. That this is
more for couples who've been together for a while, or even new couples, and there's some stress in the relationship that's caught. You can't have stress in one area of your life and expect it to go away just because you walk through the bedroom doors and get into bed. That's not realistic. Mm-hmm. And so this is more like, well, what do you do about that kind of stress? Not those, should we stay together stresses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just clear about that. Yeah, and to honor that there are sometimes some big wounds that need more than what this can take care of, and to take the time for your relationship to address those two, to really still useful to come together and use these, but it may take something in addition to it.
So as my story indicated, and I'll name it now, what I was really doing was prioritizing our relationship. And, of course, there's natural ebbs and flows in a relationship. And yet, what's important? What do I really want in my life? And, I came to this conclusion that I really wanted to be with Sara. That was even more important than going to that class, or, having something that I wanted. And so I made some internal shifts, and I switched it around, and I got to this point where I could work with Sara because I wanted our relationship to be the priority. And
just similar to what I did with the video, is I paused and said, okay, you're more important than all of these other things right now. And what do you need to feel listened to, and that I'm attentive to you, and not just this idea of what we're trying to accomplish. So some connection, but really prioritizing us in the quality of our interaction. And so pausing sometimes, even if I'm preparing for a family holiday and everything's like, pause, say, okay, how are we doing? What do we need?
And one of the other phrases we often use is there needs to be at least one adult in the room. And so in this case, when you're prioritizing your relationship, you're allowing yourself to become the adult. You're saying that, okay, I'm not going to have my reactivity right now. I'm going to set that aside. And maybe your meditation practice helps you with that, that ability to set things aside and focus on what it is that is a priority.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so knowing your own internal way of quieting the tension, how you can do it in a relationship to quiet the tension, but that is the priority, prioritizing the relationship. How can we come together? And sometimes if we have tension between us, we find ways like going for a bike ride or a walk, or going play a game that isn't highly competitive, and we get more worked up. And we have some other fun ones that we do in our coaching sessions, because we've had some people that end up like they feel like there's so much tension that they've lost the intimacy, that they don't even know that they want to come back to the bedroom. Right. And that we've had to work with them to find a sense of relaxation first together, and then they can get that playfulness back. And then the playfulness, almost like a sensuality and a kindness and a new idea of be together before they can, get to the really hot and juicy stuff.
Well, and there's a lot of, as you know, a lot of relationships that end in divorce. They just can't quite make it. And we think that partly they didn't prioritize the relationship. They prioritized their own personal agendas or feelings or their own personal hurts. And, there is that you need to be aware of, like, where am I triggered? What's going on for me? And how can I, because prioritizing the relationship doesn't mean I let go of myself. I'm still present for myself and my needs, and how can I work within this relationship? How can it work for me and Sarah?
Yeah, thanks. I like that. It's really the relationship and me and me. And at that moment, it may be, I want this in the relationship. I want to care about this for us. So there's sometimes people, when we think of that transition, they say, well, don't go to bed mad. You should always resolve everything before you go to bed. Well, we might have not gotten very much sleep for a few days, and that wouldn't necessarily help the relationship. So sometimes it is like, okay, let's keep it out of the bed, but let's just go to sleep and take care of ourselves and fill ourselves up with some self-care and some good rest, and have a clear perspective in the morning and see what things look like. Because sometimes it is that we're tired and we're annoyed and we can't focus enough to really see the bigger picture and what's important here and what's important for us, or what am I doing to trigger the situation.
Well, and I remember some of those times where we went to bed mad. It was actually an opportunity to tune into myself. And so I could lay next to you. We're in bed. Maybe we're not cuddling because we're not really lovey-dovey, but I'd put my hands on my heart, my belly, and I'd take some deep breaths, and I'd ask myself, okay, how am I doing? What's going on for me? And how can I be present to all that I'm feeling, all I'm aware of? And, at some point in the night, sometimes we'd turn to each other and start to cuddle, or, we'd wake up in the morning with a refreshed aspect, outlook on life, and be able to talk about things in a whole different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because even, if there is tension, just our touching can often just quiet down the tension, just quiet it down and feel like, okay, I know we're together, even though not everything is resolved. So
I want to say, if this is resonating for you at all, please put it in the chat, put in your experience and say, oh yeah, I felt that too, or, whatever, you want, because we'd love to get your input as well as we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go on to number 2 there?
Sure. Number 2, you want to show
I'll show the slide. Yes.
Yeah. So
let me find it here.
Talked about 1 is to prioritize the relationship, and number 2 is to that one there is to let go of goal orientation. So
and we were like, shall we release goal orientation? Shall we let go? And you can look at it any way you want, but or drop it. Margot is famous for saying drop goal orientation.
Margot Anand is the founder of Skydancing Tantra, and we've studied with her for years now and love her work. So look her up if you're not familiar with her. And it is, we're certified Skydancing Tantra teachers with Margot's work, and have been teaching
10 years now.
10 years.
Well, we've been in Tantra for 10 years. So
yeah,
it's totally changed our lives. It really, talk about transformative. That's been a key.
Mm-hmm. So the idea of goals is that we're focused more out here in front of us rather than what is really going on here. How am I? What's happening in my experience right now? And so to change the lens back to this moment in time, allows us to have more resources about what's available, to enjoy the moment more, to use our senses, to use our experience, and then to also expand what can happen in this moment. So in the sense of, intimacy, when we let go, and sex, when we let go of goal orientation, and not often it's like, well, it'll be fabulous when we all have our orgasm, or when we have it together, or when we get aroused or something. And that's often that, big carrot out there. And yet there's so much that can happen in the pleasure of touching, of being together, of eye gazing, of sensuousness, of energy connection. And that sometimes you even do so much of that, or it fills you up in a way you feel full, and you don't need the dessert, the orgasm, that's not the priority, that there's so much else that's available there. And a lot of people find that idea of what they thought was sex just expanded.
Well, and often when you have that goal, I want to do this, I want to experience this, it gets in your way, and you're not open to, well, if I go down this path, I might get there in a different way than I expect, but I'll still get there. And it's not even getting there. It's like exploring, enjoy the journey, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and be open to new perspectives instead of focus on, I've got to do it this way now.
Yeah. Yeah. So to let go of that focus. And when you are in the moment, when you feel this time, what do you think you gain more? And if you want to put it in the chat, what you gain by doing that, of
Letting
being,
go of goal and intention.
yeah, and be in the experience. That anybody can put that in the chat and hear what they've gained if they've had that chance to do that.
Well, and so often when you're planning and doing things, you get pretty myopic, you're so focused on it, and you miss other things. You might miss something else, a different path, a different expression. I know some of you are whitewater rafters, and, if you're focused on getting through that, that narrow channel, you might miss that, oh, there's this other place to go right here.
Get the flow. Get in the flow. Yeah. And so and our experience with that is that we have had so much more pleasure when we're completely here. And that the senses sort of just waken up so much more and really enjoy that. And that we can there's something else I was going to say, that and that it allows also that each moment be a new moment. So if there is tension, and that you can say, but is that tension going on now? Is it right now? Are we still in that argument and tension? And and if it's past, then how can you feel now? Because maybe you're allowing a free new experience to occur. So if this tension isn't happening right now, can it be the past? And one of the skills I've had to use over and over is allow every moment to be a new moment. You relate to that? You relate to that? Allowing every moment to be a new moment. And that has to do with letting go of goal orientation. How are we now? How are we together? Because Thomas, at first, when I came up to him and I'm like, okay, I'm going to join with you and we're going to resolve this video problem. By me just looking into your eyes, you're like, Sarah, I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. I'm annoyed. It's like, okay, tell me about it. He needed to talk about it. He needed to be heard. And then take a breath and said, what do you need to feel like we can move forward, or where do you want to go from here?
Oh, and I love this comment that we just got. Letting go of the goal is actually new for us. We tried it recently and found that the goal then changed midstream.
Mhm.
And the end result was beautiful.
Ooh,
Exactly. That's
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and another one says, I am more understanding of my partner's differences. And that has to
Yeah.
do with letting go of the goal, because you're focused on your goal and it may not be your partner's. They may be going over here. And
Yeah,
then,
actually, that reminds me of a couples session where we had this certain goal we were working for, and we let the couple really just be in their experience. And it turned out that what they did was far more valuable than what we could have created for them.
Mhm.
We gave them the space, we made it a safe space, we gave them some directions and kind of started it off and guided the process loosely, but they formed their own
Uh-huh.
reactions. And it was like, for us, it was a window into their relationship to see what
Mhm.
they do.
Yeah, to give it enough space that their individuality could come through, instead of, we're saying, okay, and then touch your partner this way. And they're like, that's not working yet. It's like, great. I needed to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that awareness of yourself, and where are you going? Where is your goal? And knowing your goal, if you do have something in mind, is to know it, to
Yeah, and,
own
and
it.
to actually
Mhm.
communicate. That's a big part too, is to communicate.
Yeah, yeah. So doing that. So thank you. Great ideas. And we want to go on to the
Yeah, I can post
third.
that one.
Yeah. Mhm. Oh,
I gotta find it
so letting
here.
go of the goal orientation was the second one we did. Prioritizing your relationship.
This one.
Yep. Letting go of goal orientation. And then the third one is align with your higher self. Wow. Okay. Now that might be new for some of you, and for others, it may be, oh, yeah, I think we know what you're doing, or you do that. And great. If you have your own way to do that, it's fabulous. Do you want to talk what the higher self is?
Yeah. Let me stop sharing so I can let go of that task and get into what I want to say instead. Um, uh, we we associate the higher self and being in a place of knowing yourself well and awareness and all that allows you to start to heal through your sexual relationship. Um, Many couples have the hottest sex of their marriage after they've done some healing after and it but doesn't cure or doesn't really fix the whole issue. It's like a way, it's a method to work with yourself.
Mhm.
And
So, yeah, the higher self I think of is that you have a bigger perspective, a more worldly, like a wise self that really shows up, instead of being in the ego that is more self-absorbed, and maybe, there's a right and a wrong, and more judgmental. Then that's the self that is not as wise, and it shows up often. And that also the besides the ego, it can be the part that tends to be a little more petty and picking on the little things, like you left the toilet seat up again, and I didn't like that. And that while that may be something you're working with, there can be a way of addressing that brings your higher self into the equation, and and respects your partner about what's going on, and talks to them in a way that affirms their right for space, their right for their experience, and doesn't, say, well, you're a mess and I can't live with you, this isn't working. That it really is a quality. It's a quality of how we exist, and a quality of our perspective that we live with. Yeah. And they often say, like, higher sex or higher.
higher self equals higher sex.
Yeah. I mean,
If you
yeah.
bring in your higher self, you're going to potentially have higher sex.
Mhm.
And Margot Anand talks about that in her books a lot, about setting the conditions and the stage so that you can have higher sex.
Mhm. And some of it is seeing your beloved as a sacred being,
Right.
that we are all one. So they're just a reflection of us, for first of all, and that they are divine. And so whether they had the toilet seat up, that they as a person is still a divine being, and we want to respect and love that essence of who they are.
That's actually one of the things that really changed for me in our very first weekend of sky dancing. We did this ritual, and in the ritual, at that time, I saw Sara as a goddess. I mean, literally, she was a goddess. I was just like, wow. And I bowed down and I praised her and kissed her feet and all that. It's awesome. And it wasn't until, I don't know, some months later that I realized that in order to see Sara as a goddess, I had to somehow believe in myself as a god. So in that sense, I was operating from my higher self in order to see Sarah's higher self. And it was our 20th anniversary, and it really marked a change in our relationship. And it was beautiful.
Yeah. So does anybody get that idea of the higher self and have used it in your relationship, or to step out of kind of the petty, annoyed self and say, really, what's going on? What is possible here? And what's possible is this as a point of transformation. Because I remember some of our earliest stresses when we were in conflict, that it was how we got out of them that I actually felt closer afterwards.
Yeah.
Did anybody have that you felt closer because your partner listened to you? He heard you in your pain. He heard you in your stress. I don't know if did you feel that at all the other day when I was with you, that there was more of a connection than?
Well, there was more of a connection, but I don't know. I'm thinking more of back to my example, when I prioritized our relationship, it allowed us to connect in a new way. And it allowed us to be in our higher selves and to go, okay, what's really good for our relationship, and so Thomas has this need and Sara has this need. How can we work together to make sure that we're both getting our needs met?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So can I do a little what's the word now?
You do meditation.
I want to do a meditation, but there's a name I want. Embodied experiential. That's what I want to do. A little experiential aspect of that. So I would like you to close your eyes where you are. And take a nice deep breath into your heart. And if it helps, and often it does, is put your hands on your heart and let your hands tell your heart that I'm here. I love you. I'm going to care for you. I'm present with you. And you take a deep breath into your heart. And it's always nice when you make a sound on the exhale, because then your hands can feel that vibration. So deep breath in. And we'll start this communication, body to hands, hands to body. Another deep breath. And then you can keep your hands there on your heart if you want, or you can place them in your lap, whatever feels comfortable. I'm going to invite you to very focused, put down some roots. And whether that's just you get to appreciate the earth underneath you and notice that, the rocks, and maybe you were out gardening earlier and you were digging in the soil, and how the earth nurtures us, or whether you send a root. We had a teacher that was always sending a grounding cord deep into the earth, all the way down into the center where there's a hot molten lava. Whatever works for you to have a sense of groundedness.
So really closing your eyes and visualize this experience of the roots of the trees reaching out into the soil, Coming from your body down.
Right out of your ass is the way I think of it. Right out of your pelvic floor, like you had a tail, or there was a root coming right out of the bottom of your pelvis. And appreciate that root. You're connected to the earth. All of the ingredients in your body, all the solid ingredients, are from the earth. The water, the elements, the atoms. And then on the other end, at the top of your head, reach up out of your crown, reach up beyond your space, wherever you're living. Reach up into the sky, brilliant blue sky, or a deep dark blue at night. I don't know if any of you saw the eclipse happen the other day. That was absolutely gorgeous. The interplay of the earth and the moon. And reach up into the vastness of space, moving into that super conscious state. And in this super conscious state of awareness, look back at yourself. So it's like you're up in this cosmos and you're looking down and seeing yourself sitting where you are. And then notice a time from this perspective, from this higher perspective, when you're in your higher self. What is possible for you in prioritizing your relationship? What could you do? What could your higher self tell you that might help you to prioritize your relationship?
Really bringing in that spiritual quality, that essence, as you are hovering over yourself, seeing you and your beloved there next to each other. And what is one way you can prioritize that relationship that maybe you hadn't thought of before?
And if you're a solo, if you don't have a current partner, from this higher self perspective, how could you prioritize a relationship with yourself? With finding more pleasure, finding more joy, or are you potentially having a challenging relationship with a coworker or a friend? How could you prioritize those relationships? So this really applies to any relationships in your life. From the perspective of the higher self, how could you prioritize?
And this is really honoring what you value. What is important to you about doing that? Why are you with this person in this way that you say, I care about you. I want to honor our relationship and attend to it, to us in this way. I will take care of myself by honoring us in this way. What's important? And what is that action? Just one thing right now that you can do. And even to make one small action is going to make a difference.
And another nice deep breath with the sound on the exhale. And still with your eyes closed and your focus being up in the sky, and yet you have a sense of groundedness. Humans are this unique vertical creature that walks around Earth. Our feet are on the earth and our heads are in the sky. Take advantage of that, and up in this perspective, this higher self perspective up in the cosmos, looking back at yourself, observing, and ask yourself, what is possible for you to support yourself in letting go of goal orientation? And by goal orientation means we're focused on the goal so much we're excluding other things. It's all right to have a goal in your life, but when you start to focus so much, you lose track of other things, other priorities. That's not great. So how could you support yourself to let go of this goal orientation where you want a certain outcome?
Feel into that, to think about ways in your life, if it's pausing and taking a breath more. If you find yourself frantic doing, and what would it be like to just pause and not do for a moment? If it is just checking in, am I really taking care of me and letting go of the goal ahead? Opening up to what is alive now in this moment. What is one thing from your higher self perspective that you can do to support letting go of goal orientation? And we're going to stay in this presence of meditation.
And then take a nice deep breath in again, into your heart, into your body. Actually, this is how we inspire ourselves, with a deep breath. And the third secret I'd like to focus on now is connecting with your higher self. So from this vantage point where you're in your higher self perspective, how can you connect there again? How can you come back to this perspective? And you can ask your higher self how you could do that. If there's certain things you could do in your life, or just certain attitudes, or how could you arrange that to come back to this higher self perspective more often?
How can you let that divine self that you are shine through you? How can you honor yourself and see the spirit, the quality of oneness that we all are, and that we want to evolve? We want to attend to things in a mindful, loving way, come from the heart. So how can you take care and, from this higher perspective, support your higher perspective coming through even more in your life?
And then
To breathe, take a deep breath in. And is there a way that higher self wants to also invite you to support your sexual expression with your partner, your transition from the tension to the bedroom, from the lovemaking that can be alive, and see lovemaking as a transformational experience, where sometimes it is the touch that softens us through our oxytocin or through our tension and our bodies relax. And sometimes it is the passion that we bring into this experience that fires us to transform beyond our bodies into a oneness and connection.
So although this webinar is the 3 secrets no one ever told you about not bringing stress into your bedroom, you can also use these 3 secrets in your bedroom. Prioritize your relationship, prioritize being with the person you're with in the bed. Let go of goal orientation and to just be open to the experience itself. And then to bring in your higher self into the equation of being in the bedroom making love. And then take a nice deep breath into your heart. Let's put our hands back on our hearts. Bring that sense of nurturing and connection, hands and hearts, deep breath. And this next breath, make a sound so that you can feel the vibration of the sound in your hands, the resonance of your own voice. Deep breath in. And then send some love and gratitude to your whole body. You can start to explore your body and touch yourself. And say, let your hands say to your body, I'm here for you. I am taking care of you. I love you. I caress you. I listen to you. Gradually coming back into the Zoom space. And now maybe you want to open your eyes, or maybe you want to stretch first. And then when you're ready, opening your eyes.
So we're going to allow you to have some time to share with each other what that experience was like. And how we like to do that is invite one of you to speak first while the other listens, and that we give you a specific amount of time so they can really have some spaciousness to let those thoughts evolve from this. And if you pause, to just be there with that and notice if something else bubbles up that you want to say, and then say that of what are the things that you experience from your higher self, of how you would like to attend and prioritize your relationship, how you would like to let go of goal orientation, and any other way to support you and your lovemaking from the higher self. So we'll give you a few minutes to do that.
Well, for us, the practice of it, being a listener is a practice. It's being of service. It's listening attentively. It's not projecting your own ideas on the other person or trying to draw them out or anything like that. It's really just being an open receptacle, a hollow bamboo that is just listening to your partner. And sometimes that's a harder thing to do than actually speak. So if you notice that your partner pauses for a moment, just be quiet. Allow the pause to generate their own ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one of you will speak and the other will listen, and then we will give you a cue when you're getting close to the end, and then we'll trade roles and the other one can speak while the other one listens. And listen to them sharing about their experience. It's not about you, it's about them and what's important for them.
So go ahead, first person, whoever wants to speak first, you can start. So first person who's speaking, you have another 30 seconds to share about this experience tonight and the 3 secrets: prioritizing, letting go of goal orientation, and aligning with your higher self. And then first person, you can bring your words to a close, find a way to say your last sentence. And then both of you take a breath together. And person who was listening, thank the person who was sharing for sharing with you. And then we're going to trade roles so that the person who was listening is now going to be the person speaking about their experience this evening. And what do you notice about prioritizing your relationship? What do you think might be a way you could let go of goal orientation, or how could you align with your higher self? And the person who was speaking, you get a chance to practice just listening. I wouldn't even call it active listening, except because you're not doing anything. You're just really being present. So go ahead, second person, and share about this evening with your partner. And second speaker, you have another 30 seconds left to share about how you felt about this evening and where you think you might go with these 3 secrets. And then second person, bring your sharing to a close, find some last words, last sentence. And then person who was listening, thank the partner who was sharing for giving you this gift of themselves. And then take a deep breath together and thank each other for being present for this evening about how to have less stress affecting less stress in your bedroom, to have stress affect your bedroom less.
Yeah, just by being here, you're already prioritizing the relationship and each other, of saying, our time together and learning these things matter. And so congratulations, and makes a difference for relationships that do this, that they find that those that are spend time together and have the connection actually live longer and are happier. And so that this is one of the things you're doing for yourself, is that creating that time. And even the idea of having sex, like what's the relationship between sex and a healthy relationship, and that they found that that there's kind of an average of having sex about once a week, and really helps the relationship, and that they found more than that doesn't necessarily increase it, but less than that can decrease it. And that I hate to get timetables, because with one of the things that we moved away from with this study is the idea of what is sex, that there's so many things that can be more. And we'll do another workshop on that, is really expand your ideas and enjoy your interests of having a more expansive sexual relation, enjoying each other. But that comes when you let go of that goal orientation that really fits into that, and enjoy each other, or enjoy the lovemaking. Might be a sensuous kiss in the kitchen, or it might be, just witnessing your beloved coming out from a shower and seeing their beautiful body and just as it is. That can be so rich. And so
when you're in the present moment, really and truly every moment becomes an opportunity to be amazed and delighted by the world we're surrounded by, the beauty in this world. And so we have a request for you that are watching. If you could put in the chat, what is your greatest takeaway from this evening? What did you get out of it? What are you noticing for yourselves? And can you see how this could work for you? If somebody can post something, we'll tell later, but we'll give you a chance to think about that and post it. And
yeah, what did you get out of this here? And how was it to share that with your beloved here today? Or if you aren't with somebody now, even your own self, which can be your beloved.
How could you use it by yourself? That'd be an interesting one too.
Yeah. So we have another screen share to put up, and as you go ahead and put your
thanks for the reminder,
answers in the chat, that if this really appealed to you, these ideas and expanding your relationship, that we do couples coaching, and we look at relationships in many different things that is available. So what is possible? You can, we first start with clearing the blocks to intimacy, so you can have much more greater intimacy and not just getting by, and then developing your depth of connection, increasing the desire, the pleasure and orgasm, and awakening your body to more sensuousness. There's so many things that we work with people on, that some are coming for just one of these things, and some are working on several of them.
Well, and I just want to interrupt here. That word orgasm is often problematic for people because it's often so associated with those 5 to 10 seconds of physical ejaculation for men and orgasm for women. And we open up the definition of orgasm and we redefine it, because there's lots of orgasms that can happen in your body, lots of orgasms of pleasure. For me, there's this thing that we put on our heads. We call it the orgasmatron because it scratches and it just feels so delicious. That's orgasmic. So we don't want to get stuck on this one word here. I saw that one word and I wanted to open up that definition.
I love my energy orgasms that happen and aren't even, necessarily touching Thomas and can feel them. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for pausing there for that. Yeah, but really opening up to more love too. And then, moving beyond to manifest or use the power of our bodies, our energies, our
creative
sexuality, our creative life force, our vitality to manifest our desires. And so if any of those sound good to you, we invite you to sign up for a couples passionate love discovery session, and we can meet with you. It's a free half-hour session where we can look at how you can take your relationship to the next level and how we can create a mini plan for you on what is possible for your relationship. Because we've opened up a few slots in our schedule here before the holidays and then after, and we would love to help the couples start the new year off and make this next chapter the best. And so you can go to our
I'll pop that in.
Yeah, our webpage and look at the Love Passionately is our business name, and we have a page there where you can sign up for your free passionate love discovery session where you and your beloved can begin the journey here. And we love to work with you. Our desire here is to find out what your desire is and to help make your dreams and desires all the more real and with each other. So we'd love to hear more about that.
And one of our people is reminded of the song, Let It Be from the Beatles, and let it be more often and in more ways.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then letting go of goal orientation, not just in the bedroom, but also in everyday life.
Yeah.
It makes a less stressed life.
So one of the takeaways, yes, definitely does. So yeah, how to do that. So great. Yeah.
So, and if you're not sure about scheduling a passionate love discovery session, actually, that's all the more reason to schedule. We love talking to couples about where you're at, and you never know what you don't know until you talk about it. And then you might be surprised. It's part of letting go of that goal orientation, is just being surprised to what you don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we want to understand what you have, where you are, and where you want to be. So if you sometimes feel stuck or feel like these concepts make sense, but you have a hard time implementing, we talked a little bit about the higher self, just one way of getting there, and there's many other tools. And that from that, we guide also practices on how the interaction together, the quality of the interaction changes in such a significant way that we see so many opportunities in our life, in our relationship, our job and such. And so that's what I've gotten out of Tantra, is that I don't feel that I'm kind of living in this tight little box of defining who Sara is or who Sara was by her past. It's more like what is possible, and it's limitless. And so we love to support other people feeling that expansiveness in their relationship and coming together.
I got a cough here.
Yeah.
Well, and that sense of limitlessness, we've opened up and changed in our lives so much since this Tantra has added to our lives and changed us. We have more free time, we're traveling more, we're seeing more people, we're loving more. It's just been an awesome adventure for us. So if there's anything we can do to help you have that kind of adventure, we'd love to be there with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of our joys now.
Yeah. So if there's any last thing you want to put in the chat about how this was for you, we welcome that. And we'll be wrapping up soon, and I'd love to see you in the discovery session so we can work together again. And so what we covered tonight was the 3 secrets to keep the bedroom a stress-free zone. And they said nobody had told you, so now we've told you, and now you know what not everybody knows. But go ahead and tell your friends too that the video will be available for a few days, and so they can come and watch and hear, who we are and what we do. That we'd love to hear. And then from there, we covered prioritize your relationship, let go of goal orientation, and align your higher self. And go ahead. We'll look forward to seeing you again. We'll have more videos and more time together. And otherwise, go sign up at the Love Passionately site, and we'll see you there.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.